Welcome to the NFT Podcast, Lena, and it's a pleasure to stay with you today and talk about NFTs and digital clothes. And so, what's your story and what do you do?
My story is very interesting, I think so, because I started not as a designer, and I had a lot of experience working in marketing sphere and other different spheres. And once I thought that I want to have a swimwear brand, and at this moment I moved to Bali. And in Bali, I launched my swimwear brand, and in this moment I realized that actually I love to do, uh, yeah, I love to create. So it was full of mistakes. And after that I was thinking like, yeah, I have a kind of lack of knowledges, and that's how I appear in Italy and started to study fashion. And so now I work in fashion industry as a fashion designer, as a fashion technical designer. And also, fashion industry is moving forward very, very, very quickly. Sorry, this is hello.
He arrived.
This is my cat. And so I started study and work, and I realized that actually fashion is much more than just create clothes. It's moving so fast, and it's moving to digitalizing. So that's how I started to create digital clothes also. And now I'm fashion designer, technical designer, and 3D designer. And I'm creating as physical clothes as well as digital clothes for for brands, for startups, but also for myself as an artist. And yeah, and that's moved me to the NFTs, because this is also, everything is so much related to each other. So that's how I'm here with uh, with my big with my big love with fashion and art.
Amazing. So, you made both physical and digital clothes, and what do you like? What do you like make the most?
Oh, I like both. It's just different. It used different part of my personality, because physical is more about the hands doing, and of course digital. I love so much because your fantasy is not. I mean, you can fly, you can flow with it, and you can create. You're not bounded by something like by fabric properties. For instance, you can create anything you want with any properties, with any qualities, with any colors, and that makes me feel very free. Yeah.
And of course, do you also mix these two worlds in the sense that maybe if you want to make a physical clothes, you before you create it digital, and then you can customize it how you want, and then you can apply it to a physical world.
Yeah, sure. You can use, that's the good point about the digital clothes, that you can create it in 2D and 3D ways, both, because uh, I don't know, it's maybe surprisingly, but you cannot create 3D clothes without 2D clothes. It's kind of, I mean, they're related to each other. They
Yeah.
together, they connected, and so of course this is amazing that you can create 3D clothes and also use 2D to create the physical way of this.
All
Yeah, this is
right.
amazing.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And imagine that I didn't know anything about digital clothes. How could you convince me about the fact that digital clothes are here to stay and they are necessary and they are interesting for our society? Because I don't know how many people maybe here understand. Oh, but why do I need to buy digital clothes? I want my physical one. I where will I show my digital clothes, and what's the need of spending so much for something that will won't going to stay physical with me, that I cannot bring with me with my travels, my dinners at restaurant and everywhere else.
Yeah, the good point and the good question about the digital clothes necessity for our lives. But honestly speaking, COVID, I think, show all of us that we are more digital than we could imagine before. Everything started to be in the net. We started to work mostly in internet. We started to understand that we don't need to actually be physically on the work. We don't need to go to the office to do something. So digital clothes, first of all, show us that you can you can wear something without producing. Means that you don't need to pollute the ecosystem. This is the first and very amazing point about the digital clothes. So, for instance, a lot of influencers and famous people, maybe you know, maybe not, but sometimes they buy thousands of items of clothes, of garments, just to make a picture for the Instagram or for some social network, whatever, just for one picture, and they don't use it anymore. But to create the physical garment, you need to do a lot of things, really, really a lot. And it's not only about the pollution, right? It's about many, many things. It's about the work of people who create it, and it's about the actually, well, this is a very long story about the ecological part of this. So just um, shortly, yeah, it has a huge influence on the ecosystem. And for the people like them, it's amazing opportunity to have something very creative, something amazingly new, just for one picture to impress the followers, for instance. Not, but also not only for them, for other people who can, who wants to show off. They can buy this digital garment without any, sense of blame that they made the polluted ecosystem more, but still be very interested in social network and to show something crazy on them. Maybe you saw what people create now. They can create actually even animated thing, animated garments, sneakers or hat or whatever. And of course, can you imagine that you post kind of this picture in your Instagram, and everyone will say, "Wow, this is so crazy. Where did you get it?" and so on. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, definitely. It's. I think it, so. You say that. Of course, it's good for the environment, and that's an interesting point because there are a lot of people that are very rich and they buy some clothes they just use once, then they throw away, and just for Instagram, and we know a lot of them. But so, do you think that would you pay the same price now for a digital cloth as you pay the same as you pay for a physical clothes, or do you still expect that if you buy a digital clothes, you are going to spend less first because it's digital and you can use just in digital world, while a physical clothes, of course, you can use in both because if you take a picture, it becomes in a sense digital, and second because like maybe it's cheaper to create a digital clothes, so for me also I need to buy it by spending less.
I think that pricing for digital clothes actually should be more or less the same as for the physical one. What I mean, uh, I think it's obvious, right, that for instance, Gucci costs much, much more. And not only because of the brand, because of many things. This is marketing. So I think the same situation with digital clothes. Uh, if you're very famous designer or you're a brand, you can ask for some garment more money just simply because you're a famous one. And if no one knows you, I think actually it's the first thing. And another thing that um, I think that now it's just underestimated, the thing with digital clothes. And when some companies asks, or some designers, some creators ask for the garment like 100 euro for a digital one, of course you may have questions like why I should pay this if I cannot even wear it, right?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I think it depends on the purpose also. What do you want to do with this? Do you want to impress someone? Are you famous and you want to show off that
Yeah.
you have this opportunity to buy? You can be fresh, new, and on the wave, or just why? Of course, because, for example, your jacket, you can wear it so many times, and you can show it in the real life, right?
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's yeah, I think it's just underestimated now, the purposes of the digital garments
And do you have any
choice.
suggest about this, like which are the needs that are going to rise in the next year, in the next 5 years, for which people are going to start using these digital clothes more?
I mean, the easiest point for me is just to help people to understand the environmental influence.
Okay.
And I see that this is growing, and I hope that it will be growing more and more. And people in mass will understand that it's better to, for some purposes, of course, you can find, you can go to some store and buy the physical clothes, but for the others, probably it's much easier to buy the digital one. Also, maybe the good point, if the digital clothes will be developed, in the way how to easy to use it, and it will be cheaper. Because what we have now, I think it's quite expensive for the average people, just to, for the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said before, like Gucci made a product that was way
Yeah, but
expensive.
this is Gucci, of
Yeah.
course, but this is Alessandro Michele. Everything he creates is very, very expensive because that's him. It's not, I think, for now, it's not even Gucci, it's him.
Yeah. All right. So, if now I want to buy a digital cloth, where can I buy it?
Where?
Where can I buy it?
The most famous website, I would say, named Dress6. Maybe you heard about them. They have the platform, kind of marketplace with the fashion designers and the 3D artists who create digital clothes for selling.
All right.
So I think this is the most famous place now. However, I've heard that a lot of other places getting up. So I think that in 1 to 3 years, it will be lots of them, really. I also know that another one website existing, but they have the same appearance, like they are selling digital clothes, but they have a little bit different construction, because on the website, another one, they sell digital clothes for the auctions. For it's very close to NFTs actually, because they sell digital clothes
Yeah.
for cryptocurrency, not for dollars, euros, not for the normal currency, for the cryptocurrency. And these auctions are, of course, everything you can sell for crypto is much more expensive. So I think that another website I'm talking about, they sell it not for the normal people, they sell it more like for game industry or another industry. That's why the price is much higher.
Yeah, that's where I see for now the most digital clothes, in the sense that also with Fortnite and all the other games, I saw that you can buy a skin, and the next level is that you
Exactly.
can trade the skin, because after you stop playing Fortnite, you want to resell it. But here, yes, it's another world with fashion, definitely. So, do you envision also this as a change in fashion shows? So are we going to see some fashion shows fully digital, not that we all met there in Milan with the last show of Vogue of everything?
I hope no. Really, I hope no, because for me, it's very important to be still involved in physical world, to see on my with my eyes the real runways and catwalks and the real people actually. However, I know that already now exist in some shows like Mercedes-Benz and others, and also some fashion designers and some brands already are creating just full digital runways.
Yeah.
Yes, I hope that it will not be substitute fully for the physical one. But yes, of course, it's already existing.
Oh yeah. So no, it's also interesting because this contraction with physical and digital makes me think about the fact that some people just buy a clothes because they like also the textile, so the feeling that you've got to like on your body, and you appreciate in some sense. So of course we are not going to see physical clothes to die, because
No,
we need to
yeah,
go
I hope.
around, and we need to be dressed, and we cannot be naked, of course. Like, we cannot just live in our house with digital clothes.
Yes, but for the fashion world, it's very important thing that we started to be able to make 3D digital clothes, because basically it also helps so much to save money for production when you create 3D sample instead of you create free physical samples.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much money and time you can save for the production? Especially, it's very important for the startup brands, because when you start up, you have no idea what to do and how many samples you need for each garment. And when you have at least the opportunity to save your expenses, well, this is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And I was looking through some Instagram profiles and some companies in the digital clothing environment, and they are actually very good in the sense that you don't even think, you don't even see that they are digital. Like you sometimes
Yeah.
think that they are, because the rendering of the clothes is made so well, the lights. You also see one thing that I notice is that you see more like more colors, in a sense, more lights on the colors. They seems really more futuristic in a sense. I like this. I like that effect that you see. But apart from that, that for me it's a cool thing. Like you don't even understand that they are digital.
Yeah, that's true, absolutely. And of course, it's not only the realization because of the rendering, but also you can, when you do the rendering, you can add light uh, as much as you want. I mean, you can use, I don't know, studio light or whatever light, I mean, pink light, anything, and you will have already very sterilized pictures for your, mm, I don't know, for something you want to use your 3D rendering, right? Not just
Yeah.
not just simple. You don't need just to show the 3D just for the appearance, how it will looks like, but you can create the full picture with the light and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also if you use, for instance, HDRI maps, you can also create the environment behind. So
Amazing.
a lot of opportunities.
um, because it's not so easy to dress a mannequin in 3D model and rendering. Did you study for that, or generally do you think that there are some universities worldwide that they teach about fashion design, but they also start to teach you more about 3D and modeling? And if there are some, I'd be interested in know which are. Otherwise, if there aren't, just okay, go on YouTube, go on Plural site, and all the other courses that you can find to 3D modeling.
Uh, Personally, me, I didn't study anywhere. I'm the self-made. I mean, actually, I use my software for 3D already for 3 years, and it was when it's just started. I mean, almost no one knew about it, and now they have a lot of courses and a lot of fashion schools. Actually, even in Italy, they have 3D courses. As far as I know, in Rome, Coefea, they was thinking about to create something like that. Accademia Costume e Mode. Uh, I think also Marangoni was. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but I think I saw something like they have the course like that, and it's everywhere, not only in Italy. I know that now Russians, for instance, they have a very strong courses for 3D. That's why very soon we can see a lot of Russian 3D designers. I'm pretty sure about that.
Oh, so you say a lot about Russia that is going to rise with digital clothes. That's interesting. And yeah, about the Istituto Marangoni that you mentioned, I think that I saw it on the page on Instagram page of Clo. That is the software that you use, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I also use Clo.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to link in the description the website of Clo, so that for anyone interested, you can start creating your digital clothes too. So how is it everything that we are saying until now linked to NFTs? For example, we saw that
Yeah, sure.
there are some marketplace, of course, in which you can sell your NFTs. I saw that you are selling on Foundation, but is it just for marketplace that you think that NFTs can help the rise of digital clothes, or are you envisioning something else?
I don't know actually. Maybe it helps somehow. But I think, like now, what I feel about NFT is that they are more about 3D designers, and most of these 3D designers, they are not related with fashion. but I hope it will be changed, because fashion as an industry, fashion as an art industry, can add a lot to the NFTs for them. I mean, from the art point, of course, like from the artist.
Yeah. Um, about maybe so it's important to understand more the fashion industry and like what in general do you like and what you don't like about the fashion industry.
What I do like, what I do like is that this is great opportunity to share with people your personality and your individual vision from the art point. What I don't like, the commercialization of that, and that fashion is the second polluted industry in the world, and this is insane. And I'm just thinking sometimes how it's happened when we started to be not the art industry, but more the commercial industry, which is, of course, I mean, I understand that this is should be mixed up, but sometimes the balance is wrong, unfortunately for me.
All right. All right. So because yeah, mm, this is a personal like this is a personal thought about me. I don't even always like the mode of fashion in the sense that it seems that you need to evolve too fast always to not more I think to build a status, more to have a social credibility in the sense that I think that is something very very important inside the fashion industry. Personally, I don't even I haven't even appreciate too much about people that are spending a lot just to show something on Instagram just because they they want to fix something that does it's not really important for them. But the fashion industry for me is always been something that you you're not just proud of what you own, but you are more proud of it in the moment in which you share with them someone. And when I was younger, I also spent a lot for my clothes because when you start the high school, you need to show people that you dress that kind of clothes, that you spend for it, that you care. And it seems like that if you don't buy that kind of clothes, you don't actually care about yourself. That's something that a lot of teenagers, I'm sure, they passed in their beginning. But then one day I decided that I didn't give any more anything about it. So I changed all my clothes and I basically dress 90% of my time all black, like with clothes that are not of any brand, like just NASA maybe sometimes because I believe in aerospace more than any other brand. Like so, that's a general sentiment that
Exactly.
I
Most
feel
of the
about it.
people, unfortunately, they just don't even they don't wear 80% of the garments they purchased. This is the pain of the fashion industry. Unfortunately, this pain has been built by fast fashion brands. Uh, but because in the beginning, if we will come back in the past, fashion was always the part of the art industry. And I don't want even say like art industry, because for me it's two different words that not even can be used together. But art, fashion to the art is more related than fashion to the commercial for me.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I see that now it's going to be changed. For instance, let's come back for a few seconds to the Gucci, and maybe you know that he started to coming back to the past in the way to show off his collections, not often than 2 times a year. I mean, summer, spring, summer collection and autumn, winter collection. Because now, if you look at the fashion runways, they can show like 8 collections in a year. 8. I'm not sure that we can wear all of them,
Yeah.
really.
So you should buy 8 different collections per year and spend I don't know how much, right?
And Zara have like, I don't even know about now, but I've heard that they had something like 30 or 40 collection a year.
Yeah, but I like the model of Zara because their clothes they are very cheap. So it's so good
And
for
this is
teenage.
another problem, yeah.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, oh yeah, it's a problem.
Of course,
Okay, well
of course,
I
this is the problem.
because like I like the fact that for so the business model of Zara basically is that they change collections a lot and they make it cheaper because they are more attached to the tastes, let's say, of the teenagers, that they want to change a lot but they don't want to spend. Me personally, I like to go to Zara sometimes because I find that the minimal clothes that I like, I can buy them, spend a less, and then I can come back like in 3 6 months and my baby something different that I like. But um, what I was seeing about Zara is that they measured that like the average buyer goes into the Zara shop like 12 or 13 times per year, and that's like 3 times more the average buyer goes to other shops because they change a lot everything that you've go inside. And every time I go to Zara, like the entire shop is totally different from the time I saw it before. But you say that's a problem.
This is a problem, of course. The problem is that they can provide very cheap price for Europe, for instance, for United States as well, for the countries who can afford it. The price is really cheap, but the problem is what they do to achieve this price, and what do they do to environmental to do this price, and how much they pay for the people who sue this. And this is the one point, of course. And another point, of course, I think you understand that to produce so many collections, what the resources they use for this, how many water they use for this, how many gas and electricity they use for this, how much they pay for the people who create it. And yes, this is the one thing. Another thing that for us, for customers, we feel ourselves like a kids that we can go and spend a little bit money and to, like a candy shop and to buy everything we want because it's so cheap, but we don't understand the reasons of this production, first of all, and we don't understand how it's influenced on the environmental industry. And also, it's very psychological thing that you will buy 80% of these garments and you will never use it. Or you will use it in 2 months. In 2 months, you say, why it looks so bad? I just bought it 2 months ago. But because Zara doesn't use, they don't use good quality for good quality fabrics, for instance. They don't use good quality stitches, of course, because all they need is just to that you use it 2 months and then to come and buy again and again. And this is like yeah, this is the world of fast fashion, which I don't like, because
Fast
for me fast
fashion.
fashion is not fashion at all. Yeah.
Ah, fast fashion. It's interesting seeing this perspective because you're talking about a lot about the environment. I was thinking, are there some textiles, some materials that pollute more for the environment, and are there some that pollute less? That I think are the
Yes,
one that you would
course.
like to see more in the next years.
This is, of course, like another thing about this. I don't want to say only about Zara because we have a lot of them, the companies who work in the industry of fast fashion. But the thing is that why it's cheap again? Because they use materials, they use fabrics with a bad quality. First of all, it's most of the fabrics used for garments are polyester and elastan, and some polyester you can recycle, but most of them you cannot recycle. And every garment which consists with elastan still cannot be recycled. So we are having the problem now in the world that only 1% of all the garments can be recycled. Can you imagine?
Really,
And what's
it's a small
really
number.
1%, because most of the garments we have are consist elastan or mixed fabrics, which is for now, just for now, is impossible to recycle. However, of course, science is not stepping on the same place, and we're moving forward, and we're looking for another options how to recycle this. But just imagine how many garments never used, and what we can do with these garments if we cannot recycle them.
Yeah, definitely. And do you know more about how companies create this kind of polyester? Like about more about the supply chain of the because I also think that it's bad for the environment because their supply chain in some sense is bad in the way they create these garments.
Yes, of course, because for each garment we need water, we need electricity, we need power, we need people who will do this, and all of this, and also of course transportation. So, for example, most of the garments still um, they produce in Asia, mostly in China, sometimes in Sri Lanka and other countries very close to this area. And for instance, how do you think how much gas polluted will be for transport some garments from Asia to United States? This is the one point. Another point is every dyeing clothes, I mean, for example, jeans or anything which is not natural color, has tons of water and electricity. And what's just think what happens with this dirty water?
Yeah,
Where is this? And another thing is our world now. We have a polyester world, unfortunately,
yeah,
but everything what created from the polyester, even if you have, I don't know, let's say you have not t-shirt. Shirt is usually cotton, but for example, you know, okay, some garment you use for sport, you know, some legging or something like that, and you go to wash it in the washing machine, and
yeah.
this is fully made from the polyester or polyester, nylon, and elastan. And every time when you wash it in your washing machine, the little pieces of polyester, where are they coming to? They're coming to the ocean with the water. And after this little plastics eaten by small animals, for instance, and then we are eating these animals. You understand how it works?
Yeah, now I understand how it works. Yeah, now I can see the full circle. Like I pollute and then I hit what I polluted. That's bad.
And this is only one, and this is only one example of the chain. But I mean,
It,
just very easy to understand, right? How it works in our world.
yeah, that's very easy to understand. Yeah, I think supply chain is something very underestimated in our world. I think supply
Yeah.
chain is one of the thing that we need to teach more at schools because when you understand how everything that you've got in your house they basically arrive in your house and before in your house in the shop in which you buy them, that will be, I think, the main point that will help us and people understand more about sustainability, about the impact on the environment, about the impact on other people. Because if you are hitting now, there is something that it's wake up at 5 a.m. on a field to collect your bananas and everything that you are hitting now. So that's so important to understand supply chain. And it's a field that should be for me more studied in every of these aspects because it helps us having this 360 view that you are giving me now for example for digital clothes, but it's not about no sorry digital clothes about clothes, but it's important
Yeah.
to have you for me in any field. Okay, so switching to the other side, which is the
Yeah.
best textile and the best textile for you for the environment apart digital clothes of
The
course,
best,
the best
the best
fabric.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It's very tricky question because I would say, of course, that this is natural one, something like cotton. But the problem that we coming back to the environmental effect that to grow a lot of cotton, we have fields, and it's I mean our sources is not enough to cover our consumption hunger. You know,
Yeah.
because seems like people they just I mean our consumption doesn't have any end. I mean we're just eating and eating and eating, and we don't understand that our world, our planet, we just don't have these resources anymore. for everything like that. The same thing with the fabric, like cotton. Cotton is the perfect for wearing it for the body, because this is not cruel. Like a silk, for example, you don't buy any bugs. You just grow some plant and then to prepare it for clothes. But the problem is that, again, that we consume so many clothes, so many cotton, that we don't have these resources of as field, for example. We cannot produce so many cotton plants
Yeah.
for our t-shirts, for our industry. But if you wear the t-shirt from cotton, not blended and not colored from the natural cotton color, this is more or less environmental friendly garment.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So that's what are your suggests to buy? Like, what do you buy? What Lena buys that helps the environment? And
All
what
right.
what Lena buys in general? What you're
Okay. Lena is maybe different a little bit. Yeah, because well, I actually choose also another way. Since I live in Rome, in the beautiful place full of vintage markets, I buy a lot of vintage clothes, trying to give them the second life.
wow.
That's what I'm in. Yeah.
Wow. Is there a specific reason or is just a taste for you?
Well, this is the reason, because I'm trying to give the second life, the first of all. The second reason is that vintage clothes in Italy, I would like to highlight it in Italy, that it still have very good old school kind of quality. And comparing to the garments I can buy in vintage markets to the Zara, I will always choose vintage, because I know that the quality is much better, and I can save somehow this garment and wear it. And this is the second thing. And the third thing is why I choose vintage, because it's always, you can create such an interesting look for yourself without being the same as someone. And for me, for the artist and the designer, it's very important. I like to buy some crazy things sometimes, or just some things that will not be obvious that where I bought it, that I bought it in Zara or even Gucci, because also Gucci now is very,
Yeah. Cool.
everyone understands Gucci.
Super cool. Good to know that in Italy they've got there, because I'm Italian, but I'm not in Italy now. So there is this opportunity for the nation to have a revival of all these vintage clothings, because they are very good quality. So it's something that you suggest for Italy, in the sense, don't be too much commercialized with fashion clothes, but also take care of all the vintage history of clothes that you've got in your country.
Yeah, sure. Or even if I want to, I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't buy new clothes, of course I do, but I will always choose to buy one shoes, I mean, good brand, one shoes, and I will wear it 1 year, at least, maybe more, than to buy five different pairs of shoes, and I will wear them, I don't know, 2 months each. So this is just my suggestion, just to think about it, that maybe it's better to pay more for the one good thing than to pay maybe the same amount, but for five different.
Awesome. So, thank you, Lena, for coming here today and sharing your vision, your suggestion, your work in digital clothes. You teach me a
Yeah,
lot
we didn't
about.
talk about NFTs.
But I think, something that, if you want, we can dive deeper into NFTs. But I think that we touched the most important point here, in the sense that before you started talking about digital clothing, and then we start talking about traditional clothing, and I'm sure that for people understanding these two sides, then they understand more how digital can be evaluated. Because if you see all this impact that you're talking about on the environment, for example, I'm not sure that, like, when you think about fashion, the first thing you think about is the impact on the environment. But if you are someone like you, that you work in this field, like you understand a lot about this, because people like say that NFTs are bad for the environment. That's not basically so true. I'm going to make an episode soon about this.
NFT is not good. I mean, it's not bad for environment.
Yeah.
NFT is try. I think NFT is actually is the good point for that, because you can you can be an artist and to sell your art vision, and you can be a collector who can collect it, and everyone is happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. No, if there is something more that you want to add about NFTs, I will be more than happy to hear it. But of course, it was so interesting to see this parallel between digital and traditional clothes, that it's basically one of the main one of the main reasons behind also this podcast, because it's important to understand for me how digital can renew in some way everything that was traditional before. And it's important that I and everyone that is listening now understand how these two realities can live together, and they're not substituted one from the other, but how one can benefit from the other too.
Sure. Thank you to invite me for this podcast. It was very interesting to talk. I was actually happy to share my knowledge about the fashion industry and about the digital fashion. So yeah, thank you
Amazing. Thank you for
being with me
coming.
here.